There we go. One more time. We are going to call the meeting to order. The first thing is going to be the call our attendant. Yeah, our roll call. Thank you. And just 1 second. Okay. Steve Ball. Here. Phoebe Benzinger. Here. Jan Chastain. Here. David Fishering is absent. Chad, I am here. Delphine. Here. Richard. Here. And Ron. Here. Okay. So, do we have any changes to the agenda, gentlemen?
We do not.
Okay. So we need to do the approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any objections or any changes? Who wants to give me a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay.
To approve the minutes.
And a second?
I second.
Great. All those in favor of the aye. And all those opposed? Okay, it passes unanimously. So, gentlemen, it is all yours. Whoever wants to take the lead.
I will take the lead. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. The first and only item on tonight's agenda is the Blowers Edition, which is a proposed annexation into city limits. We did bring this to City Council last night in order to vote on a resolution to set a hearing date, and that is set for January 2nd. Tonight serves as the recommendation of zoning, which we will carry forward to City Council on that date. This is a proposed annexation of 15.22 acres, and the property is within the city's urban growth boundary, sewer service, and water service areas. This consists of 3 properties and a sliver of right-of-way, and with these combined, they do meet the state's contiguity requirement. The area is urbanizing, and the property is eligible for annexation. The surrounding area consists of RL Rural Living District to the south, R6 Medium Density / Manufactured Housing District to the east, I1 Light Industrial District to the west, which is the airport property, and areas outside of city limits to the north. The applicant has requested a zoning designation of RL Rural Living District, which is intended to provide for farms, ranches, and clustered development with open space, and is designed to dovetail with allowed county residential densities. There is a bit of a quirk with the RL zoning district in that the code actually doesn't set a minimum lot size, unlike every other zoning district. The code actually states that the Planning Commission must recommend a minimum lot size with any annexation or any rezone to RL, and that would be included in the ordinance for that property or group of properties, and so different places zoned RL may have different minimum lot sizes. The applicant has requested a minimum lot size of 1 acre for this property. As the intent of the RL zoning district suggests, it is designed to dovetail with allowed county residential densities, and this is consistent with the allowable county density here. So we do think that this is a reasonable density request. Here is the annexation plat showing the 3 properties proposed to be annexed. These are all located off of 6450 Road, slightly south of the intersection with Lincoln Road. According to our land use chapter, this is shown as mostly residential mixed density low and a little bit of employment center on the western side right next to the airport. Note that these designations don't necessarily conform exactly to property lines, so the employment center designation is primarily associated with the airport. The residential mixed density low designation implies the area is appropriate for single family development, as well as some small amounts of attached residential development such as duplexes or townhomes. The property is within Growth Area 1, indicating existing or proximity to existing utilities. The applicant is requesting annexation in order to connect to city utilities. In summary, the application is in order and the property is eligible for annexation. Since this is over 10 acres, an annexation impact report will be required, and we will submit that to the county at least 20 days before the hearing. Staff finds that the proposal is consistent with the public health, safety, and welfare, city annexation policy, and the comprehensive plan. Staff recommends approval of the RL zoning designation with a minimum lot size of 1 acre. And the applicant is here tonight. If there is anything you would like to add, please feel free to come forward and state anything you'd like to add.
Please start by identifying your name and then your address, please.
I'm Don Blowers, and I own the property, but I don't have anything to add in particular except that I am not planning on doing any type of subdivision. The larger track, I don't see a map now, but the larger track, the 10-acre track, If I do anything at all, I'll split it into 2 5-acre tracts. And the property owner to the south is looking at maybe doing the west 5 acres as a boundary line adjustment. The other 5 acres would be sold as one piece of property, and I probably would put some kind of restriction as one residence only and no more development, because I don't want a bunch more houses out there.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time? That last sentence, what sort of restriction?
I would probably put some type of a restriction, if I can, on the 5 acres so that it cannot be subdivided again. Because there's already a 66 lot subdivision on the east side of the road across from there. If it ever gets developed, it's going to be a big mess out there anyway. And I don't need a bunch more neighbors. So the only reason that I'm doing this is lot number 1, which is the small lot to the northwest, is a lot that my son's going to build on. And then lot number 2, I'm just going to sell that for a residence of 1, maybe 2 houses at the most. That's all I'm planning to do with it.
And one more time, your address for the record?
Pardon me?
Your address for the record?
I'm sorry, I'm a little hard to hear.
Your home address?
Oh, I'm sorry, 2440 6450 Road,
Thank you, sir.
Montrose. Okay.
Any questions for the staff? And then for staff? Okay.
Yeah, some confusion about the agriculture, the RL, farm and ranching. But this is in the city, correct? This is in the
Yeah,
city.
yes.
So are they allowed to have like a horse, or I thought that was not allowed?
Within the RL zoning district, again, the rural living district, it is intended for farms and ranches, and it does allow for certain amounts of farm and ranch animals.
So livestock is allowed?
Correct, yep.
I didn't know that they were allowed in the city at all.
It's the one zone district
What?
within,
Pardon me?
it's the one zone district within the city limits that would allow it. And really, the RL zone is intended to be kind of on the fringes of city limits. And this really kind of falls within that. The property to the south, as Will mentioned, is RL as well. And it could accommodate that, just as the applicant stated his intent was to have larger lots ultimately here.
I didn't hear you, you might have said, is this kind of grandfathered in? There's people out there with horses. Is there grandfathering in or not?
No, what
I
the
mean, as far as
request,
the animals.
as far as the animals go, RL would accommodate for animals. It's the one zone district within the city limits that would accommodate that more rural agricultural use. No other zone districts within the city would allow for that. The primary intent for the applicant to annex is to hook up to city utilities. So with that, they have to comply with a city zone district, and the best city zone district they feel is that RL zone.
Okay. Just never heard it before here. I never heard here before.
Any more? Commission, any more questions? Oh, okay, then we will go ahead and open up the hearing for public comments. And so if there is anybody in the audience who wants to give any public comments, come on up to the microphone, give us your name and your address. Okay, seeing nobody wants to give any public comments, I will close the public comment portion. And again, bring conversation back up here to the commission. So my only conversation would be why 1 acre? And the applicant has requested it, obviously. Why 1 acre? Why 1 acre lots?
It's a minimum.
No, we give a recommendation to the,
I'm saying he's asking for a minimum
Yes.
of 1 acre.
right. And we can do that minimum, we can do bigger, we can recommend smaller.
Right.
And I'll be blunt, my recommendation would be smaller. Now, that's always his choice on how he sells his land, but I guess I don't want to necessarily express to future folks, if there is somebody who does have another piece, why can't they go smaller? And it just makes it known to the community, it makes it known to the neighbors that this is going to be smaller. And when I say smaller, half acre is still smaller than what he's asking for, but it is still more density and allows for future development in the future.
So I think if we look at the master plan, this fits within the master plan and the growth of the city. So it makes sense to annex in the city. And if the owner of the land wants to go with 1 acre, I have no problem with that, in my opinion. I understand that we have specific needs, but I feel like in the last year, we've accommodated a lot of higher density. So I'm good with this, personally.
Comment and ask staff maybe a question. I didn't see, do we have something in the code that you guys can point us to that specifies how we are supposed to treat, according to the code, the lot size question, right? Like, we should always be not just expressing our opinion about policy goals that the city might have about housing density. We should be looking at making the decision according to what the code says about that decision. So I don't think we've encountered this before, where there's a question about the lot size. It could be, is there something in the code that specifies what grounds that decision is supposed to be made on?
So according to the definition of RL, and I'll read it verbatim if I can find it here, it's in my notes somewhere, I swear. It's intended to provide for farms, ranches, and cluster development with open space and is designed to dovetail with allowed county residential densities. Minimum county lot sizes, I mean, it depends on their zoning district, but generally, county lot sizes are 1 acre. And so what the code suggests is a minimum lot size of 1 acre. Again, that is a recommendation. It can be larger, it can be smaller. I would argue that if you were going to recommend a smaller lot size, then perhaps a different zoning district, a higher density zoning district would be more appropriate. But ultimately, that is a recommendation from the Planning Commission.
My personal opinion, I wouldn't want to change his recommendation for RL. If he has reason to need that zoning because of animals, that's great. Let's not force a different zoning upon him. But the lot size, we're all only here on this earth for a limited amount of time. That land is going to be there forever. Let's just make it where the future owner doesn't have to go through hoops to have a smaller lot, is my only position.
So we've also identified, I think, that the demand sometimes is higher lot, and this is what the staff is advising, right? This is what you're supporting as a staff, is the RL. Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah, I'll say, personally, I think that particularly hearing what the code does suggest about dovetailing with the county, but the acre lot size sounds fine to me, and most in accord with what the staff recommends. The code suggests, even though it doesn't dictate some what the applicant wants. So if all three of those things are met, definitely fine with it.
Agreed.
So if anybody has a motion, we will
I'll make a motion.
go for it.
Oh, wait. Okay. I hereby make a motion to recommend to City Council approval of the initial zoning request as RL, Rural Living District, with a minimum of lot size of 1 acre. The request meets the code criteria based on the evidence and testimony presented at this hearing and the staff report.
Nice, second.
Second, okay. And any further conversation, discussion? Okay. All those in favor? All those opposed? Nay. So I will be the only dissenting vote. But it passes. Sir, you're in good shape from the group.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you approved that as RL because I do have livestock and I rent that pasture out, so that makes it better for me.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, Jace, do you have anything else for us tonight?
Nothing on my end. One thing to mention is that the next meeting will be canceled. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but it's the week of Thanksgiving. So we will have that meeting canceled. We will have the first meeting in December. We don't have any items as of now. I'm looking at Will for confirmation.
As of right now, nothing, but there's still plenty of time for something to get put on there. So expect a planning commission meeting on December 13th.
I'll be on a cruise for Thanksgiving, so.
Sorry?
I'll be on a cruise for Thanksgiving. So, and I do like the haircut, by the way.
Thank
Side
you.
note,
Thank
love it.
you. I do have one thing to mention in other business. Perhaps Chris Dowsey would like to announce it. I don't want to steal his thunder.
Oh, yeah, you didn't have to. So as of Monday, the 13th, I will officially be the city attorney. I am removing the designation of assistant in front of my name. Ben Morris has stepped down. Today was his last day, so. Congratulations. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn? Please?
Oh, I see you, yeah.
In second? Somebody? Okay. All those in favor? Aye. We're out of here.